All right, when you picture Amsterdam, this is probably what comes to mind, right? You've got the graceful, gabled houses, the calm water, those iconic arched bridges. It's a picture of perfect harmony, a symbol of beauty and incredible design that everybody, everywhere recognizes. But let's dive into this, because this picture-perfect scene, it's hiding a truly extraordinary secret.
You see, this isn't just a pretty neighborhood. What you're looking at is the Canal District, or the Grachtengordel, as it's known locally, and it's a total triumph of the Dutch Golden Age. I mean, back in 2010, UNESCO named it a World Heritage Site, calling it a masterpiece of hydraulic engineering and town planning. Pretty high praise. But it begs the question, right? What does it actually take to keep a 400-year-old masterpiece like this alive and kicking in the 21st century?
And this right here, perfectly sums up the tension we're going to get into. On the one hand, you've got that serene, historic facade that millions of people flock to see every single year. But on the other hand, you have the messy, complex, and constant reality of what's happening behind the scenes. It's this hidden battle against water and time just to keep the whole thing from literally collapsing.
Okay, so to really understand that battle, we've got to go back, way back. We have to appreciate the absolute miracle of how this place was created in the first place.
So here's the most mind-blowing part. Amsterdam, by all logic, should not exist. Seriously, the entire area is just a huge river delta, basically a swampy, unwelcoming marsh. The first people here had to literally reclaim the land from the water, building on what was pretty much a giant sponge of old, decayed plants. I mean, what an absolutely audacious, crazy place to decide to build a major city.
And yet, this is exactly what they planned. Take a look at this map from 1649. It shows their incredible vision. The city was facing this explosion in population, right? But the planners didn't just build randomly. No, they designed this incredibly rational, organized system of canals, all in concentric circles. And in one go, poof, they made the city 5 times bigger. It was an urban project on a scale that Europe had just never seen before.
But you know what was even more revolutionary than the size of it all? It was the reason they built it. This wasn't about showing off for some king.
Nope, this new city wasn't for a monarch or the church, which is how most European capitals got started. It was built for people, for merchants, for tradesmen, for citizens. It was basically the physical embodiment of this new spirit of liberalism, and it was designed from the ground up to power a global trading empire.
I love this quote from the historian Russell Shorto. He puts it perfectly. He said, "The canals are like these arms that the city sent out to just reach around the globe and pull all its riches back home. They weren't just for looks, They were the arteries of commerce, the logistical heart of the Dutch East India Company, designed to bring the world's wealth right to their doorsteps."
And at the very center of it all, you had this, the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. It was arguably the first of its kind anywhere in the world. This whole district was basically built to be the headquarters for the world's first multinational corporations and all the financial systems that made them run.
Okay, so we get it, right? It was built for business. But what about the people? How has life on these canals actually changed over the centuries?
Well, back in the 17th century, this was the place to live for the city's super-rich elite. Then, you fast forward to the 19th century, and it starts getting this historical appreciation, earning the nickname the Venice of the North. But today, it's something else entirely. It's a massive global tourist hotspot it's coexisting, sometimes pretty uncomfortably, with a whole new economy of creative agencies, tech startups, and design firms.
And that evolution led to this number. By 2015, we're talking about 17 million visitors a year. Now, to put that into perspective for you, the entire historic inner city only has about 85,000 residents. The scale of modern tourism it's staggering. And that huge influx of people, it has a profound impact. You talk to long-term residents, and they say they feel like they're under siege. They're watching their local bakeries and butcher shops disappear, replaced by souvenir stores and waffle stands. They even have a name for it, the Disneyfication of their home. And a lot of them feel like they're being pushed out of the very city they helped keep alive.
And they really have preserved it. This isn't just some museum. Real people live here. They pour their life savings into restoring these 400-year-old buildings. Painstakingly transforming them from these raw, aging structures into these stunning modern homes. They are fighting to keep this place a living, breathing monument, not just a memorial to a culture that's gone.
But all of this brings us right back to that hidden battle I mentioned at the very beginning.
because underneath all the social pressures of tourism, there's a much older, and you could argue, a much greater physical threat.
I mean, think about it. You build a 5-story brick townhouse, and then a whole city full of them on top of a swamp. So what on earth is actually holding it all up? This. The answer is this. The entire city is standing on an invisible forest of millions of timber piles, just like this one. We're talking about wooden stilts, mostly spruce trees shipped over from Scandinavia, and they were driven by hand, deep down through all that soft peat and clay until they finally hit a solid layer of sand, sometimes 12 meters down. Amsterdam is, quite literally, a city built on stilts.
And it's not just the houses, either. The canal banks themselves, all 200 kilometers of them, are held in place by something called a quay wall. These walls also sit on timber pile foundations, and they're the only thing separating the street from the water. They are the city's first line of defense, and they're failing.
You know, the engineers back in the 17th century were brilliant, but there's no way they could have predicted all of this. First, you've got the incredible weight of modern trucks pushing on those quay walls. Then there's just the slow biological decay of 400-year-old wood. And here's the real kicker, the constant churning from the propellers of all those tour boats. Yep, the same boat serving those millions of tourists is literally washing away the soil at the base of the walls. All these modern pressures are pushing this ancient system right to its breaking point. And in 2020, it broke. A big section of the Grimberg Wall quay wall just collapsed right into the canal. When they investigated, they found the direct cause. It was the large tour boats, the ones from the tourism industry, making a turn at that exact spot over and over again. They had scoured away the canal floor, removing the soil that was holding up the foundation piles. The stress just got to be too much, and they snapped. It was this huge, stark warning that the city's biggest attraction is also a direct threat to its very existence.
So this all leads to the final, really critical question, doesn't it? How do you preserve the soul of a city when it's caught between the celebrated past and an incredibly precarious present? Because here it is, the fundamental conflict that Amsterdam is facing right now. On one hand, you have this monument that the whole world recognizes, a symbol of human ingenuity. And on the other, you've got a 400-year-old piece of infrastructure that is quietly buckling under the weight of the very modern world it helped create. And every single day, on every single one of these streets, these two realities are just colliding. You've got history, modern life, tourism, business, and this massive hidden engineering problem, all trying to exist together in this delicate and, honestly, increasingly fragile balance.
Which leaves us with one final thought. The Canal District was a radical experiment, right? It was designed for one specific thing, to be the engine of global commerce. The question is, can that exact same design survive a totally new purpose, to be a living museum for the rest of the world? That's the question Amsterdam is trying to answer right now, one collapsing quay wall at a time.